Welcome back, everybody. So let's take a look at moral action in religion. So when we talk about moral action, we're talking about morality. So what is morality? Morality is that behavior that we judge as right or wrong, as well as those judgments that are associated with those behaviors. Anytime that you hear terms such as should and should not, we're using language that is obligatory, and we're talking about morality. So, how should we think about morality? The first place is to touch upon where does morality come from, because this is something a lot of people don't stop to think about. And morality comes from natural law. So, by natural law, we're referring to nature. So, human morality comes from nature. Everything in the world, everything in nature, has a purpose. Whether you believe in creation or not, everything has a purpose, including human beings. Now, so you might wonder, what is our purpose? Our purpose is to live a good, happy life with the least amount of pain and unhappiness. Now, you might not agree word for word with that second statement there about what our purpose is in life, but chances are most people will agree with the overall gist of that. In other words, no one is going to stand up and say that the purpose of human beings is to lead a bad life that is unhappy, that is full of pain. See, no one's going to stand up and say that. So, any actions that go against that purpose for oneself and that would prevent a fellow human, oh, that's a good part, prevent a fellow human from living a good, unhappy life, are thus considered unnatural and immoral. So in other words, the actions that we do, as well as the other actions, tie into natural law. So natural law comes from how we're all made. You know, whether how we evolved or created, it's still dealing with that idea of being made, and this is what natural law ties into. For example, if you've ever gone out and had too much to drink, right, and you got drunk, what happened? Well, chances are you threw up. Then the next morning when you awoke, you had a banging headache, you were sick to your stomach, and nauseous, nauseous for the whole day, you were dizzy, you just had a terrible, terrible hangover. So, what is that proof of? Well, the human body is telling you, hey, knucklehead, drunkenness is bad. You should not do this. Why? Because alcohol in excess, the way it's toxic to the human body. How is that evident? Well, we threw up last night. And even now, the next day, we're not drinking now, but we still have a headache. So this is how your body is talking to your brain. We feel dizzy. This is bad. Therefore, drunkenness goes against our purpose. What is our purpose? To lead a good, happy life with the least amount of pain and unhappiness. So therefore, drunkenness causes pain and unhappiness, so drunkenness is bad. Being drunk is not moral. Now, if we look at that third bullet point, that would prevent a fellow human from living a good, happy life, are also considered unnatural and immoral. This is where we get other ideas such as murder as well as stealing tying in. Because if you're killing somebody, you're obviously preventing that person from living a good, happy life. Likewise with taking somebody else's possessions or sleeping with somebody else's spouse. These are all things that go against natural law, how we are made. Now, what does the asterisk mean? Here's what's interesting. Natural law doesn't have anything to do with religion. Isn't that awesome? Even though it is the basis for both religious and secular morality. And again, what we mean by secular, it is that which is removed from the dominance and governance of religion. So, the civil laws as well as the moral codes in the different religions, they all come from natural law. What is natural law? That's how we're made to live a good, happy life with the least amount of pain and unhappiness. And we shouldn't do things that contribute to pain and unhappiness. Why? They go against natural law. So now this next slide, we're going to pick up some cool terms. Deontology and teleology. So what is deontology? This is when we think about morality, and it is conceived as a list of rules. So what happens here is that the rules carry the authority. The perfect example of deontology is the Ten Commandments. So with deontology, we obey the rules simply because they are the rules. And also, questioning the rules is not encouraged. And if you're a parent, deontology is a big part of being a parent. If you've ever heard or said, "because I said so," that is deontology. Morality is a list of rules that carry the authority, and the rules are to be obeyed and not questioned. Now, the other type, teleology, this is when we think about morality differently. We think about it in terms of what is accomplished. We look instead at morality not just as a list of rules that we blindly follow and don't question, but we look more at the result as well as the achievement of the end. And with teleology, thinking of the situation is encouraged. So instead of, this would be a little example, instead of you shouldn't take your neighbor's lawnmower because it goes against the Ten Commandments. That would be deontology. Or teleology, you shouldn't take your neighbor's lawnmower because you should think about what it would be like when you go out to cut the lawn and you open up your tool shed and your lawnmower's gone. How would you feel about that situation? What would you go through? Would you want to go through that on your own? In other words, is that something that you would want inflicted upon you? And the answer is probably not. It's a bad feeling when you go out to look for something of your own only to find that it's been stolen. So therefore, you shouldn't take your neighbor's lawnmower. Teleology encourages the individual to go and think about this ethical situation on its own, as opposed just to following that list of rules just because it's a list of rules. And we're getting close to the 10-minute mark, so we will pick up the presentation in the next lecture.